Hello, everyone, and welcome in to week 2 here for DMV Rivals Summer 2026. My name is Shiv. I don't know what this dark cover is over the draft, but we're underway. It's visible enough, maybe, to see that we got a match here between the Lil Mac Attackers and 5 with potential. Already got a bunch of picks. Rounding out the drafts here as each side has gone through phase 1 as I attempt to troubleshoot whatever has happened with this weird black overlay. I think I know what it is. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Perfect. Now, everyone's nicely lighted, visible, that we can see we got Gwen, Zaya, and Lulu on the side of the Lil Mac Attackers. And then Shinzao, Yunara, and Karma on the side of 5. Of bands, you can see that 5 with potential are aware that the Lil Mac Attackers could be flexing this Gwen over into the jungle. We haven't seen much of her, but on the side of Lil Mac Attackers, they are more than willing to play it. And so we see the Aatrox ban, which also is, a jungler now, I suppose. But right now, both teams have very good late game carries in the Yunara and the Zaya. It maybe like to beef that up with some sort of control mage. So we're seeing both sides kind of pin down on the mid laners here with the Orianna ban and now the Victor ban as well. And Garen going to be that final ban away there. Oh, okay, perfect. Nothing suspicious happening at all. Yeah, Shen actually going to be the lock in there for 5 with potential, given that over to Manta Ray, who had a pretty impressive debut over there in week 1, as did the soul laners in general on the side of 5 with potential. Shen, I think we a lot of times think of as a counter pick in certain matchups, and not even just top lane, but trying to deny certain other things on the map, where you play him into Vi, you play him into Khan, like these divers that you try to counter across the map. And having that global presence on the Shen seems to have influenced the Lil Mac Attackers to go with Galio to give themselves some kind of global presence as well there for Burrito Bear in the mid lane. Now, the flexibility of the Gwen does mean that this Shen is basically blind, and Gnar is going to be the last pick there for Icane Twin to try to find some early advantages against the Shadow Ninja. You just have to figure out what Nerne is going to pick in the mid lane. Nerne coming off a very impressive week 1 for his team. And we know he does like his purple champion, so we'll see if we get the Kassadin, and we will. So saying that, this Galio wasn't going to put too much pressure on me. My Xin Zhao is a decently independent jungler that I'm not just going to concede the entire map with this guy. So they're willing to play the Kassadin, and does seem like a solid place there. The scaling pick of the Kassadin. Yeah, and I mean, the fact that Kassadin can be accompanied by the Shen when he's rift walking through the team does make it a bit scarier. I will say side of Little Mac attackers, they have a lot of disengage. They have a lot of ways to deal with a bunch of melees diving in on them. They have Lulu, they have Zaya, they have Galio. A whole lot of defensive champions that are perfectly fine allowing the other team to take the initiative and run into them. So, very curious how Lil Mac can perform on the Zaya when she is very much going to be under duress, but has the tools to counter them. It is also going to be, as we know now, a Gwen jungle for Superior. A nice little pocket pick for him. Saw that Superior having a very nice debut as well on some unique picks, like the Cho'Gath. You don't always think of as a carry, but bringing that AP damage to his team again here with the Gwen. And if the entire side of 5 with potential is focused on diving in and taking out the backline, could free up this Gwen to really snip them apart, because she's all right dealing with those melees, stacking up those Qs and weaving in those autos. We have a bit of a kerfuffle from draft, but that's expected, as we'll hope to get off as soon as we can post short delay. Restart again. Fantastic. I'm not going to bore you with my thoughts on the draft because I am but a lowly play-by-play caster. So we are going to step away for a bit as we wait for the teams to figure this out. My god, studio mode hates me, but we're in for game number 1 between the Lil Mac attackers and 5 with potential. Oh, wait. Oh. We'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post. It's fine. Perfect. Just like we drew it up. All right. So, Lil Mac attackers here on the blue side with the namesake Lil Mac attack and chain user getting pushed in a good bit by this Yunara Karma duo. Can certainly be very impressive. That's what Karma, of course, will aim to do in this double ranged matchup. See both junglers, though, electing not to play for that double ranged fight down there, and instead pathing up to the top lane towards Scoop and Camper on duty. Overall, I think the lanes we're going to be the most interested in here is going to be those soul lanes, because Nerne and Scoop, or excuse me, Nerne and Manta Ray, Scoop was not their week 1 top laner, but either way, Nerne had quite a good showing over there in the debut week in a DMV that already has a bunch of strong mid laners. It was nice to see another guy add his name to the hat. And now he's on a pick that he very much likes in the Kassadin. Feels like he can get through a lane once he's against a Galio. Though right now, Spark Salesman is getting double crabbed. Not because his Kassadin is getting all too much pushed in, but because Gwen was faster. But now we may have a fight. I don't know if Capelot can stick to the crab. He does, and he does smite it away. Spark is level 4, but Capelot down to fight. He's now surrounded on all sides. He gets the double crab, but at what cost? Now Lil Mac is under pressure. Flash forward from Rags to pick up the kill. And now Burrito Bear is stranded. And what seemed like a fine play for Capola, get the double crab, ends in a 0-3. And now soon to be 0-4 as chain users trying to fix this wave. But Spark Salesman has looped in behind. With no flash, the poor Lulu is going to be another kill over to Rags. That definitely not the start you want to give over to a scaling pick like the Yunara, to a scaling pick like the Kassadin. Yeah, the Gwen's going to be up a good bit of farm, is going to be able to invade Spark's chickens here. But I don't think you feel too bad as the Shin's out just yet. So we will have level 6 hit by this Galio soon enough. So we'll see how active he can really get onto the map. Because, you know, Nor can maybe set up some plays, but it's going to be kind of difficult to do stuff anywhere else when the Shen staying united is going to be able to respond. So we'll see if either side is really willing to take initiative with their globals knowing that the other team can easily respond with their own. We do see Spark actually completely skipped his second round of Krugs to just get down to bot crab and now start up this first dragon. His bot lane is especially strong. I feel like the Yunara Karma was already going to be the pick for the lane, but it has opened up that 20 CS lead. The 2-0-2 start from Rags should be an uncontested take, but Capalot is nearby. Burrito Bear and Scoop can join at a moment's notice, and there are pings coming out to try to make this one happen. Spark Salesman is very low. Capalot is level 6, and he smites away the dragon. But now, what does the fight look like? Nerne is down here. They're maybe looking for Capalot. There's the taunt onto 2. And even though this Gwen's level 6, she is running from the fight. They even burn the heroic entrance just to make sure no more shenanigans take place. Beautiful. No one will ever know. Yeah, obviously, like, Xayah not being able to make her way to that kind of fight is going to cost them in that scuffle. Even though the Gwen has the level 6, even though she's been running this farm lead, has the ultimate available, they're not really able to turn that dragon take into the fight it feels like they may have wanted. As Scoop and Camper getting especially low over in the top lane, but nothing too... would hope for that for the Gnar in this matchup. We do see Chain User and Potential 5 roaming up for this Herald. Capalot is already on it. Scoop very chunked out. The Stand United not going to have the sticking power they may need it to, especially when he's getting shoved. Doesn't quite land the stun against the wall, does Camper. So a nice job by the side of Lil Mac attackers to move the support up, take advantage of the fact that their jungler is quite strong, and get that Herald. Does mean Rags is going to continue to zone away Lil Mac attack from CS in the 1v1. Scoop now getting especially low. Another hyper proc for Camper. Not able to quite get it. And now Xin Zhao is on the way. Capalot working his way up as well. So don't think that's a fight Spark Salesman wants to start off. Root onto Lil Mac as Rags continue to play aggressive. Now on the Yunara, gets the Q up, and Chain User not expecting that burst of damage. And now Lil Mac is under his tower. Should be safe to farm this one up, but Lil Mac and Chain User a bit disrespectful down there. Yunara obviously has a very big lead, is the more dominant laner with the Karma, so kind of a silly death from Chain User. And Rags is going to cash in with a bunch of tower plates here. Should be able to grab another one down there. So this AD carry lead is getting quite a bit ridiculous. It is almost 2k 10 minutes into the game in the AD position alone. As now, maybe we have a play onto Burrito Bear. He's already used the taunt, but the Storm Raider's Surge can't get him away from the Flash 3 Talon Strike. He's actually going to go back in to die. Maybe not what you need to do with that Justice Punch. Maybe it was dead anyway. But either way, Burrito Bear goes down. Nice play by Spark to loop back in. And I mean, this Cassidy is in a very comfortable spot for where he wants to be. He is going to get that Roa a bit ahead of schedule, especially considering that he stopped for the tier. Going to be able to start stacking that up expeditiously. And he's going to have his back stopped by Capalot, who does have his first item. And I don't know about that Riftwalk Nerne, but he's got Scoop by his side with the Stand United. Capalot, though, willing to stand his ground and fight. He's got the Galio around now, but it's 4 members on the top side for the side of 5WP. And that just means Burrito Bear trying to come in to defend his jungler. Just goes back to the fountain. As Rags, again, aggressive in the bot lane. Featherstorm goes out. He's going to try to flash it, but he goes early. And that means Lil Mac can redirect the feathers and claim a big shutdown. Rags knew he was especially strong. Really wanted to force it. Thought he was in an isolated 1v1. Knows the feather pullback is coming, but elects to flash a bit early. Doesn't really react. But now Caplock could be in trouble. Has to burn the Ghost. Has the Gnar on their way. So I feel like Capella is also someone that really wants to start taking fights. He's got the Dusk and Dawn. He's got the Galio ult available. You got to make some action happen now that the Stand United is down. Now that the cast is in, you know. Yeah, he's in a pretty comfortable spot relative to where he usually is. But he is still waiting for his 2 mana stacking items to come through. This is the time where you want to see LMA try to push the envelope, but instead their bot lane is getting pushed in and Chain User has nowhere to go. They're going to use the heroic entrance to try to save the little Lulu, but it is not happening. Double taunt is nice, but Nerne is pressuring away Lil Mac. And so even with their jungler just tending to the dragon, will be an easy take there for some kills and their first objective. Things are getting exceptionally bad down there for Chain User and Lil Mac. The Kassadin looping in on the gank. Chain User already 0-3. Not having a fun time by any stretch of the imagination. They even get Spark that dragon, which means there's not going to be any threat of an early soul from the side of LMA. Though that was maybe a bit unrealistic with how things were going in the bot lane for them to grab the second one either way. But yeah, Rags on the Yunara, getting off to an early lead. And we saw in week 1 what happened when he didn't have a lead, which was he came alive in the very last fight of the game and dragged his team to the finish line. So now that he's got a lead, things could get very, very bad for LMA. As I like the play by Capalot to come on up to his winning lane, force away the Shen. Knows that he's been going for that taunt to try to keep his wave healthy. Able to force the flash, take the tower with his Mega Gnar by his side. Triforce now finished on the Gnar, so we will see Camper have a pretty big lead in this side lane. The steel caps definitely help Scoop quite a bit, but he's going to be taking a while to get up to that Titanic Hydra. And so Scoop's still going to be kind of weak-sided up here on the Shen. Has his Stand United now, but if he leaves this lane, Camper could do a lot of damage to that tower. But I think if you're the side of 5WP, pretty content with the game state right now. You're 2k gold up with a lot of scaling champs, and now Chain User's getting very low. Rags, the boss, trying to just continue to force the issue. Doesn't find the Rite of Ruin, but he finds the 2 kills anyway. Capalot's in the area to get 1 back as he was duking out with Spark in the Tri-Brush, but now Nerne with a Void Sphere claims a solo kill. Potential 5 flashing away from the Gwen. Scoop had his Stand United canceled, and now Capalot can't really duel with these 2 ranged champions right now. Has the Shroud to try to stick on this wave. We see that if given enough time, Capalot can shred through some guys. But this Yunara is doing just the same. And so Rags the boss going to be able to likely claim that entire bot tower. Even though Scoop didn't arrive, he provided a shield to provide enough health for his team to get the job done bot side. And now he's going to have Spark Salesman up here. Camper will go mini. So he should be okay. Not quite able to find the taunt there from Scoop. And now he is going to die for it. Nice job by Camper. He does have Flash. He's going to try to maybe kite this one out against Spark. And he's actually doing a very nice job. He's even got the Galio shadowing up towards him. So he's not playing with fear. Camper trying to be that strong point for his team. Nose Cassin's on his way. No, he cannot stick to that tower. Will be 40 seconds till this next dragon. Yunara, a full item up and able to do stuff like this. Chunks out Little Mac attack to a little above 50% HP. Chain User is going to try to help him fight back against potential 5, but that Mantra Q just adding to the hurt that they've been putting on Little Mac this game. Burrito Bear also trying to do something, but he's now used all his spells against the Cassidon, who's just going to keep Rift walking after him. Does have Spark Salesman coming down as well, so Burrito Bear trying to get out of this one, but I don't think he's going to be able to. The Galio is going to crumble. I don't know if Nerne even needed his jungler. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we have a TP in from Scoop. Lands the double taunt right out of the gate. They take down the Lulu. Now Rags, the boss, is able to escape to safety. Camper trying to tango as Lil Mac is very low. Here comes the ultimate from Rags. Able to flash away, but here comes Camper. Flash Nora ult into the wall. The wall up. They hunt down the Yunara, and they're going to get her. But meanwhile, Scoop kills off the Zaya on the other side. It's up to Cap a lot. He's trying to snip away a potential 5, but Spark Salesman is now back into the fray. Scoop looking to join. He's got full HP. The Q is not there to heal up the Gwen. And now Camper is last to die. Nerne is not even involved. But across the board, it is win after win for 5 with potential. Potential 5 very low down here with Nerne. An explosive fight around the mid lane. If you're the side of Lil Mac attackers, felt like you had to try to do something there. They get this Shen TP that they're trying to make a play on. But the double taunt by Scoop right out the gate makes it the Chain User insta-dies. Lil Mac takes way too much damage to really help out his Gwen and Gnar that are trying to just gun it for this Yunara. And so when the dust is settled and you're left with just the melees, Scoop and Spark with a whole lot more health to work with than Camper and Camp-a-Lot, so it's going to be a difficult job for the top side of LMA to really carry this one through. But Cap-a-Lot's still going to try. He is shadowing his Gnar, making sure that he can get some damage onto these towers, trying to get some gold where it can stick. We do see the start on Herald on the top side, so Capelon Camper able to trade back on the bot. Good stuff by Nerne, just knowing, hey, my team is getting advantages. I don't need to do anything stupid here. One tower, so be it. I'm gonna have Herald summoned up, and actually a 20-minute Baron started up by the side of 5WP. They have the lead on this Yunara. They're going to be doing good damage to it, and the Gnar has TP, but they have no idea this is happening. They're now pinging it out, and so they're going to try to approach, but it's already down to 5k. I think the heist is going to be pretty darn successful. Capelot's actually taking it in, and he steals it away! He walks up, and now he's got a Galio crashing down into the pit. Spark trying to go back in. It's Nerne, though, on the flank, able to just take out the Zaya. Burrito Bear is going to fall as well, and Capelot may have been a hero, stealing away the Baron, but I don't know if anyone is going to be wearing purple on the side of the attackers. It's Rags staying alive. He's pumping out the damage, completes the ace. And, I mean, potential 5 had a Baron recall in there. But no Baron buffs anywhere to speak of. I understand that the side of 5WP is pretty light on CC. It may not be easy for them to zone away the Gwen, but they stick on it. She just walks up casually, and I believe it was smited down to like 30 by Spark Salesman. Maybe trying to combo it with a Titanic proc or something. Didn't quite have it. Capilot steals it, but I mean, in that fight, it's just like, okay, Rags is never going to really be threatened. Camper joins after his team is kind of already in a very rough spot. Lil Mac just gets eviscerated by the Cassidy, who's now at 3 items. And so, even though they get rid of the Baron, it costs them like 2k gold, I guess. And there's worse trades in the history of League, as Capilot is going to look at Nerne. Feathers have to fly in the mid lane. Rags also burned the ultimate, and now with that mid prio and that chunk on Lil Mac, they're just going to force their way through. There's the Rift Walk, and Burrito Bear is going to try to pin down a very slippery Void champion in this Kassadin. We'll see if it's going to pay off, as it is not. Capilot was recalling. They've given up. And now, maybe they're the ones that are going to get flanked, as the Galio is going to pick up some minions on his way out. Capilot is now being hunted as well. Is able to skip slash his way to safety, but Burrito Bear, he has no way out. Nerne is going to lock up his, he has like 3rd solo kill here of the game. Level 16 casted and double mana items are in tow. Burrito Bear buys some time, but I mean, we've got Dragon to fight for in 20 seconds. I don't know how long you want to drag this out instead of dying peacefully. Nerne will lock it down eventually. And yeah, now that Galo's dead for 40 seconds, there is no chance of this Mountain Dragon getting contested. You see Capilot slinking into the bot lane to see if he and his Gnar can make a pick or anything, because there is no chance of them reclaiming anything in this river. I will give some credit. You know, Capilot's done a good job keeping his farm up as the game collapses around him. But now, his one strong point is getting collapsed on in the bot lane. Scoop, able to stop that greedy recall there just in time. Yeah, I mean, we're working with 3 items on Yunara, 3 items on Kassadin. It is miracle required for the side of LMA. And they're going to start it off with a pick on potential 5, but Chain User has to flash out themselves. Here's the heroic entrance, getting the crash down onto Spark. And the miracle starts with just one good play. And that is what LMA gets there. 2 nice picks. Rags did not have his ult, so not the ideal time for this Yunara to get busy. We'll see if they can convert it into any more gold here on the map. Gonna look towards this mid lane tower. And they are able to claim that.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
For all the atrocities it feels like we've witnessed this game, what a 22-7 kill score. It's only 6k gold lead. Maybe not insurmountable until you realize that scaling advantage is pretty good for the side of 5 with potential. The potential of a Kassadin has been realized. The potential of the late game Yunara has been realized. She is 2 items up on this Zaya, who is still straggling at the garage sale for her Infinity Edge. Don't think Boris is going to haggle on that one. And yeah, I think if you're the side of 5WP, you're just willing to last it out. Go to this Mountain Dragon, claim the soul, and lock it down. Just play defensive around this Baron. Don't start it in fear of what happened last time. But we'll see how much patience they want to exercise here. Or if they feel like, hey, we can just do stuff like this. Force the ult out of Little Mac. Spark Salesman now in the front line with the Crescent Guard. Finds the re-engage. The Feathers get pulled back. And now Spark Salesman is in a rough spot. The Heroic Entrance doesn't find any knockups, but they're still in. Onto the backline. Spark Salesman goes down. But here comes Kassadin. One-shots the Zaya. And now Kapala and the rest of his team are forced to retreat. Rags dunks them into the Spirit Realm. And that should be the end of game 1. We're going to wait here for the wave, but it should be an easy closeout here. There is 18 seconds on Burrito Bear, on Lil Mac, on Jane User, but they are not the strong ones. I think it is still correct by 5WP to play it safe. You've got Baron on the map. You've got Soul in 90 seconds. No reward in finishing a game fast, so... There's no fear of Kapalot skipping up to steal this one away, so should be nice and easy. Impressive showing from the carries here on 5WP. The Kassadin pocket pick. A nice little spot. Got through the early game with an advantage of all things, and now Nerne with that Zhonya's Hourglass completed is gonna be very hard to deal with. And same can be said for Rags here. Last time we saw him on the Yunara, it wasn't until really the last fight of the game that he was able to play and show what he can do. This time, it's been the whole game. The whole game started in the bot lane with that second scuttle take. Rags has been off to the races, has been great on the Yunara, playing aggressive in mid, forcing cooldowns out of Little Mac. Make it so that he can never deal with this Kassadin in any world. So, great stuff from the carries, and now Mountain Soul is up. We'll see if LMA want to get in here. Shen is awaiting a Stand United target. Polymorph on the side of the Kassadin, but they can't really collapse on him. Kapala is busy trying to do something to the Karma. Here comes the Rift Walk on in, and actually, Nerne has to go golden. There's a taunt waiting for him. He's gonna get shut down by Lil Mac. And now here comes Camper, forcing the flash out from Potential 5, but Rags the boss. He's the one you gotta keep your eyes on. Here comes a teleport from the Shen. The dragon goes the way of LMA. Nerne maybe trying to flex on them a bit too hard with the Zhonyas and the Seraphs available. Thinking, hey, Polymorph isn't up. I can go make the plays here, but the Heroic Entrance provides enough of the magic shield for Burrito Bear to arrive, and they have good damage if the Feather Pull hits onto this Kassadin. So, a lot of money going the way of Lil Mac off of that, but he is still looking like a poor kid from the Bronx because he is 3 items while this Yunara is now working towards her 6th. And so, you know, little glimmers are showing through of how LMA can win this game, but it feels like they needed more off of that play. And I think Camper was trying to get in there with the Meganar. His flash is only just now coming back up. He wasn't able to look for the big play with the Gnar into the wall. So I think if you're the side of 5WP, again, There's no bonus points for wrapping up the game early. But I've definitely liked to seal the deal. But we will drag this out a bit longer. And you know, you get a few more missteps in there from Nerne and from 5WP. Might have a game. So, can't be maybe too lenient on this if you're 5 with potential. And I think the bigger deal perhaps of that dragon fight is that Nerne wasn't able to just drop a Medjai's. He had 10 stacks on that Dark Seal. Maybe losing a bit of confidence and going for a Medjai Soul Stealer after dropping his stacks on the floor. But I'm sure he can reclaim them. His team is 7k gold up at this point. Camper is lying in wait, but he doesn't have much of a Gnar bar. Sparks Sailman actually gets a knock about the Capilot. They force out the heroic entrance quite early. Potential 5 soaks up some damage from Camper as Spark is going to dash on in. They're going to look for Burrito Bear. The Galio taunts up, but it's Nerne on the backline. Polymorph now, but he's able to get himself out while Burrito Bear has no such luck. Here comes Spark on the front line. Nerne just rip walks on in. Has the Zonias up and ready to go. Double taunt from Scoop. And now the Zaya trying to get the Feather Bow, but a nice flash this time from Rags. He loses his solo laners, though. It's 3 versus 2 in the base. Camper and camp a lot. They could maybe try to push for something here. Potential 5 has no flash, but they're not going to be able to close the gap there. So despite this game feeling like it's never really been under control or in the favor of low Mac attackers, I mean, we're still here. 33 minutes into the game, they've still got a puncher's chance at this. Another chance at Mountain Soul is up in a minute. And you can see the side of 5WP taking the needed steps, pushing in the mid wave, working through the vision, because it is going to be pretty difficult for the side of LMA to try to base check into this river. There's no true tank. Burrito Bear is pretty far behind. And I mean, Baron's in 13 seconds as well. They have their pick of whichever objective they would like. Spark Salesman, I don't know if you want to pick a fight over these wolves, but he's got Nerne by his side. Now here comes the Gnar back into one. Nerne has overstepped on the Cassidon. It's a 3-man taunt, but now Capel has found Rags. He's down into the GA. Scoop finds a double taunt, but Lil Mac should be able to rip these feathers. Finds the root. Rags though with a massive shield. He's staying alive for a good bit longer until the scissors come down from Capelot. And somehow, against all odds, it is a quadra kill as Capelot reduces them to ribbons. They're gonna try to march it down mid lane. They're teleporting the Galio in. They've got 20 seconds on Nerne here. The Cassidon just oversteps. They feel like they're so strong they can take any fight, but now they're gonna have to fight for their base. Camper is maybe thinking, guys, do we have bot that? No, we go right for the Nexus. 1 tower down, 2 towers down. Nerne, can he avenge? He's flying in, but he's polyed, he's taunted, he's taken down. And somehow, with an 18 to 31 kill score, with the most fed Yunara I have ever seen, it is 5WP falling at the finish line, and Lil Mac attackers more than happy to race by them in the final minutes. I am in a state of disbelief over this. I mean, we said, the Galio, the Zaya, these are champs that are perfectly fine getting dove into, that can certainly deal with a bunch of melees, but look at the state of the game. Didn't feel like that was gonna be the case. Felt like they were almost certainly doomed with the way that game was going. But they absolutely find a way to pull it out there. Good layering of CC on Nerne. They hunt down Rags, where it looked like he was going to turn the tides, where it looked like he was getting the heals, the shields, and everything. Doesn't all come together. And that is going to be an interesting game to try to come back from if you're 5 with potential. We'll take a break as we await the game number 2. All right, welcome in. Just like game one, we're going to be late into draft because I am still mentally recovering from what I just witnessed. As they look like 5 with potential, had it all wrapped up, but somehow we got lost along the way. A couple of plays went the way of Lil Mac attackers, but felt like they were never truly in control until we overstepped for the Wolves and the game just ends. So we'll see how 5WP are able to mentally recover after that one. They're going to try to recover with the Rise Wukong and a Bard here for their namesake player. Meanwhile, Lil Mac attackers putting their namesake player on the Jinx and going with Victor Lee Sin in the mid jungle. I mean, we typically see these mid jungle duos kind of flip. Rise likes playing with Lee Sin because he can lock someone down for the Q. And Lee Sin can kind of make sure the Rise is in a good state as he's stacking up his 2-man items. Victor and Wukong more like, hey, I want to just layer our AoE on top of each other. But they will be on opposite sides this time. Though, who we will not see on opposite sides are Caitlyn Bard, a tried and true duo of lane domination, and the Caitlyn, things aren't going lane domination, can be left alone to fend for herself if Bard wants to go make plays around the map. Lulu is off the board as the standard enchanter for Jinx. We'll see if LMA want to go put chain user on a champion with a chain on his anchor there. So it's going to be Nautilus instead of any kind of enchanter. Still, I mean, you can view it as a pseudo enchanter. We're like, hey, if we pop someone with the Nautilus single target CC, that's Jinx getting excited. That's going to amp up her damage, and that's what's going to get us to the finish line in these team fights. So Nautilus going to try to generate that reset with all his lockdown as we try to see what they want to blind pick in the top lane. It is going to be Gragas, a tried and true camper on duty staple. He loves blind picking this guy. As we'll see what the response from 5WP is. Not quite too sure if Scoop's going to play an aggressive pick. Hasn't really been his MO, though we're only 3 games in. It will actually just be Ornn. So it's going to be the tank off in the top lane. And so 5-0 potential, we're going to see if, they can shake off the war flashbacks to how game number 1 ended. They, again, are picking quite a good bit of scaling. They've got the Rise. They've got the Ornn. And I think really the thing that I'm thinking gives them a big edge in this composition is going to be this Caitlyn Bard, where you're able to have a pretty solid lane up against a more scaling champion like the Jinx. And the Bard'll actually going to be pretty darn useful up against a Victor, up against a Jinx, where if those guys get initially caught on the Tempered Fate, here comes Wukong, here comes the Ornhorn, and things could just get completely wrapped just with a single Bard'll. So that's what I'm looking towards for potential 5 to be the difference maker here, because, if that first reset does come through, either through a Lee Sin insect kick, or a Nautilus depth charge, a Gragas cast. Like, there are ways that LMA can definitely start fights and get their carries in good positions, but their carries can certainly get caught out first with their lack of mobility and lack of any enchanters to save them. All right, hopefully they're not remaking the lobby 5 times. Thank the Lord, everyone's picks are actually in. Never thought I'd see the day. Yeah, I think the engage from the side of 5WP obviously going to be a pretty big factor in how this goes. Gragas can be a pretty good source of disengage with his gas, with his body slam, but when there's just all these different ways that your carries can get under fire through the Ornn, through the Wukong, does make things a bit trickier. I think Rise would maybe generally struggle in this game up against a Jinx, up against a Victor that can outrange him, but his team can definitely set him up well if that engage sticks. And so we are on to the Rift for game number 2 between the low Mac attackers and 5 with potential. Oh dear. We did see a whole lot of action immediately from game number 1 with both junglers pathing the same way. Capalot getting the crab on that side, trying to get the double crab on the other side, and then getting collapsed on, and then Tragedy struck the attackers. So we will have both junglers pathing the same way this time as well to the bot crab. I think if you're Spark Salesman, you definitely feel good about pathing towards this Caitlyn Bard duo. Both sides probably don't feel the need to intervene in the tank off between Camper and Scoop up there. One guy we're definitely going to have a closer inspection on this game, though, is going to be Nerne. He's now in a traditional Control Mage versus Control Mage matchup. Junior's just hitting level 2. He's not in any trouble, but we've got a traditional Control Mage matchup here for Nerne, Rise versus Victor. Because last game on the Kassadin, he was off to the races. He was one of the strongest guys in the game. But when it came to those 5-on-5 fights, there were 2 instances of him just maybe overplaying his hand, playing with too much confidence. And that leads to the eventual unraveling for his side. So Rise definitely a champion that, you know, maybe puts himself in less risky situations than a Kassadin, but I'm looking to see if Nerne can have the initial domination that he's had so far in DMV, but correct those late game oversteps. It will be Spark warding out the crab before he finishes his last camp, so he is a camp behind, but I think Capalot smartly saying, I'm not going to chase this guy to the other crab. I need to take my base because my bot lane is not looking too good. He actually cancels it, though. We'll see if Chain User can put anyone on the end of his anchor. Does get the hook onto Rags, and they're going to ruin him up for a long while. Capalot's now in. The flash away from the Sonic Strike means that Lil Mac tries to finish the job, but the Jinx doesn't have the damage, and now Spark is here. But he's getting very low. The hook on the potential 5, but the fading moments of the magical journey are enough to get him out. It felt like a bit of a forced play from the side of LMA where Capalot was, oh no, Camper's getting scooped very, very low. The Storm Raiders surge means he's going to keep up with the Ram and bonk him with the barrel. It is first blood in the place I least expected it. Yeah, I mean, Gragas is definitely going to have some advantages early. He can poke out the Ornn, but didn't think it would ever be the full HP bar. Though, the casualty of all this bot lane kerfuffle is that Capelot gets double crabbed at the end of the day. Is going to try to take away these Raptors, but both supports already up here. Hook does hit onto Nern. A nice grab by Chain User. Now flash away as it's going to be a battle over chicken. Smite goes the way of Spark Salesman. But Chain User's up here. Dredgeline is coming up. Potential 5 has to flash. Didn't have mana for any sort of journey. Scoop's now going to arrive after teleporting up top lane. Nice hook by Chain User to cancel the Searing Charge. And now Scoop, without his flash, he has stranded himself, but they don't have the damage to seal the deal. Now it's Spark locked up, and Camper is going to be coming in now. Everyone wants to be a part of the great Raptor fight of 2026, but it is Burrito Bear that claims the soul kill, or excuse me, and Capelot that claim the soul kills. We will have a magical journey from Potential 5. Nice job stepping around the traps, but I think Jinx is now out of this one. The trap not quite lined up by Rags, and Potential 5 taking a whole lot of damage from this minion wave. He does not have his flash. Chain User, though, won't be able to flash on top of him for a good while, so... And we do see Camper actually going for some AP in this build. It's not going to be the Roa Bruiser build, it looks like. It is going to be a proper Lost Chapter here for Camper. We will maybe see a kerfuffle, squabble, if you will, over this bot crab, but I think with Rags and Potential 5, having the pressure of the bot lane should be a third crab for Spark Salesman. And, I mean, Capelot is lurking around. He gets hit up by the Bard, and now with 4 members, it is going to be the Dragon started up by the side of 5WP. We will see possibly a reinvade on these chickens from Capelot. Is able to get some of the little ones, I believe, for him to be at 49. And he's going to keep up the invade. He has the smite advantage, and he has the top lane advantage as well. So I like what Capelot's trying to do here. Leverage the advantage Camper on duty has. Leverage the fact that Nerne is actually losing a good bit of HP to the aggressive trades of Burrito Bear, who loses a cannon, so is it really ever worth it? But Capelot being aggressive takes away the red. Capelot, I mean, we saw him keep up his farm very well in game 1. He's on less of a primo carry champion. Lee Sin, not really going to carry in a 5v5. He just kind of gets his insec and dies most of the time. But, hey, it's something you don't need gold for. So, still good by Capelot to steal away camps from Spark. Going to start up the grubs, take those down as well. And so despite getting double crabbed early in the game, Capelot, nice job here on the Lee Sin. And I think he's playing in a game where his lanes have not gone entirely to hell in a hay basket. As Hook is going to hit onto Rags, but the Tempered Fate is nice from Potential 5, which means there's no real follow-up. The Cosmic Binding hits onto both somehow, but Chain User and Lil Mac are willing to fight back. Rags now looking for the stun. It's Potential 5 with a massive Cosmic Binding. to lock down the double right as I speak about stuff being more stable for the side of LMA. That happens, and that happens for Camper. Probably has a solo kill on his hands if he's able to get that cast back, but nice sidestep by Scoop. Yeah, excellent stuff from Potential 5. The Bard showing what it can do. Prevents the immediate follow-up from Lil Mac. Finds 2 double stuns over the course of that fight. Excellent, excellent stuff. Felt like the Caitlyn Bard maybe wasn't getting the lead it was expected to. Now it's a Hex Optics for Rags the Boss. And it is going to be a late first Dragon take by the side of 5WP. Oh, and I realized I don't have the... Oh, man. But even still, it is still a pretty stable game, all things considered. Both sides have elements of scaling that they are looking forward to, but right now, it is going to be Eclipse finished on the Lee Sin, you know. Wukong getting that more expensive Triforce. We'll see what Capelot can do with this moment of advantage where he can definitely brawl out against Spark in the jungle. We are going to probably see a play on Burrito Bear as he steps up to clear the wave. Going to try to put down the gravity field. Capelot is trying to come to his rescue, and Burrito Bear staying alive, but the interrupt with the Cyclone means Spark Salesman does lock down the kill. He is going to be kicked back and taken out by the Lee Sin, so it is traded back. Nerne. Oh, okay, Capelot is going to have some words if we take that Q fully, so nice job trying to bait something out with that Ward Hop, so... Yeah, I mean, the brawl may have gone the way of Lee Sin if it was purely 1v1, but 2v2, where I don't believe Burrito Bear had his Black Fire at the time. Nice little play by Spark Salesman. Burrito Bear does still have its flash, so, you know, won't have a repeat incident. It is now the carries of Nerne and Rags without flashes. We'll see if Capelot is willing to try to make something happen. Feels like as the Lee Sin, you have to keep pushing the pedal to the metal throughout these early games. Wukong can always fall back on the AoE playmaking of the Cyclone. Whereas Lee Sin, his damage definitely takes a hit as the game wears on and you become kind of a kickbot. Scoop is also maybe hoping for a later stage of the game where he is scaled up, because right now, Camper has opened up a pretty big CS lead. He may have overstepped and takes a couple tower shots. Flash from Scoop on the cast. A brittle proc, searing charge, but he doesn't quite have the damage. Flash is forced out of Camper. Slivers of HP on the top side. Dragon is spawning. Chain User is going to get trapped up. Nice placement by Rags. Even finds a second one, but now here comes Capelot forcing the flash out. Meanwhile, in top lane, Camper avenges the play. He will fall for it. Neither top laner had teleport, so no real advantage to be had for this dragon fight. But Chain User is down very low. We're going to see LMA try to walk in here. But here comes Spark, has Cyclone up and available. The poke from the side, it's a steal. Capelot gets another steal on the objective. But the fight is going quite terribly. Burrito Bear is taken out by the monkey, and Lil Mac has nowhere to play. He's going to be just executing to the fountain. Give the kill to the Bard at the very least. But it is 3-for-1 in favor of 5WP. Can maybe understand the idea from the side of LMA. Hey, Lee Sin is feeling strong. That Rise is still stacking up his items. He's not a threat yet. Let's go for this play. But with Chain User chunked out, with him already using the ultimate, don't have a great way to start this fight. They may have taken out Rags, but fight is so difficult to take with the Wukong on top of you. With Nerne just being... even if he's not particularly strong, like, he's never going to die. We will have a play up in topside. A Scoop without his flash is going to get cast back. Camper doing what he can on the Gragas. Tempered Fate is going to get unstoppable by Scoop. We're going to chalk that one up as a miscommunication. And now Potential 5 is going to pay for it with his life. But he actually drags Capelon Chain User through the portal. They're now tanking tower as Chain User is for sure going to fall. They get Capelot out. Super Mega Death Rocket does a lot of damage, but it's a double for Rags at the end of the day. He's going to lock in an ace in the hole. As Burrito Bear teleported on up here. However, Nerne sticking in the bot lane, getting some tower plates. Same can be said for Lil Mac, so quite an even trade. Scoop maybe had a chance if we didn't immune the Tempered Fate. But Spark actually going in onto Burrito Bear does actually have the damage. I thought it was going to just insta-die, but oh, Rags gets red on the Sonic Wave. And Capelot is off to another great game here, it feels. As he's 4-0-2 on the Lee Sin. Nerne, though, with all that time LMA spent skedaddling around the top side, he's able to pick up the tower in bot. It is responded, though, by Capelot, so it is going to be two towers out of that play for the side of LMA. Nothing really but the one tower and a bit of the kill advantage to the side of 5WP. And now the game has kind of gotten to about the state we were looking at last game. A good bit less exaggerated as far as what the state is, but it's like, hey, Camper's ahead in his lane. Nerne, yeah, he might be down a bit of gold because of the kills. It's actually up a fair bit because of the CS lead. So Nerne's ahead in his lane. Rags is ahead in his lane. It's going to be the top side of LMA trying to get this one done. But hey, the rest of your team is not nearly as far behind as they were in a game one win that they were able to pull out. So relatively speaking, they should be feeling pretty good. They do have this dragon coming up in 90 seconds. They're going to have to try to figure out what they want to do for that one. I think maybe going to have some tough questions on the side of 5WP. Your Caitlyn is about to hit that Infinity Edge. Will probably have that advantage for the next fight. But your Ryze is not going to be stacked up. Your Ornn is not going to be providing those valuable Ornn items. And, you know, there is Flash on the playmaking of Capelot, soon to be Camper on duty for this dragon fight. To be fair, Nerne, Rags, all with their flashes as well. So we'll see if 5WP wants to really take this fight. Given some of their champions would be fine with it. Some of them, maybe not so much. As Spark is actually going to fly on in. The stun isn't there this time with the Cosmic Binding, but Chain User's taking a fair bit of damage back. Does find the hook onto the Bard. He's going to try to Magical Journey on out, and he will escape. Here comes the Realm Warp from Nerne as Spark is able to spin his way to safety. Capelot now down very low. There's a Flash Cyclone from Spark. They're trying to weave in the ace in the hole, but the Lee Sin stays alive. Double Tempered Fate on the carries doesn't matter because no one is there to follow up. Nerne's trying to crank through the spells, but he's going to fall. Now Scoop arrives, but he's late to the party. The train finds 4 knockups, but he needs more damage. He needs some teammates, and he will not find them. It is just Rags alive on 5WP. An Infernal Dragon going the way of the Lil Mac attackers. It all starts over a battle for the line brush there. Or banana brush, excuse me. And that's some of the power of the Nautilus, that you're able to face check in, find these squishier members like the Bard, and force the issue around these fights. Capelot, with his lead, didn't fall to that kind of flashy play where they're trying to get the Flash Cyclone in from Spark, layered with damage from Nerne arriving on the Realm Warp, but it doesn't all come together. The Ornn is quite late, not able to get to the play. And so now for the first time here in this game too, we have a good bit of a lead. 3K here to the side of the Little Mac attackers. Herald in tow, try to wreck some towers and bring that gold lead up even further. As we may have a play in top side. Burrito Bear does have his flash. Alex, oh no, it was just a bit off. So a nice play here. Does buy enough time for Burrito Bear. Was very, very close. It was on cooldown when the Tempered Fate first hit. Does come back up to evade the follow-up. So does mean a valuable summoner is found. Didn't expend too much on the side of 5WP. The Ornhorn being down will matter a bit. Nerne can't really tango with this Gragas just yet, but is able to clear the wave. You have pings coming out on the top side. I can't imagine. No, we do have a Baron start. Why not? Why not start it up at 20 minutes? Trying to force the Rise, who has no TP, try to join this play. But Camper doesn't have TP either. He is the strong member. They're getting chunked out here. Ice Baron Scoop's just going to flash and charge into the wall. He's going to get locked up by the depth charge, and that Ram is gone. Now Cap-a-Lot maybe looking for an opportunity. A lot of damage here from the Rise. Chain User has overextended, and now he's dead as well. The Chaos Storm pushing forward as Burrito Bear trying to get something going. Cask doesn't kill Spark Salesman, but the Proto Belt will. It's going to be a trade out across the board. They're trying to stick to this Baron because it is exceptionally low. Rags now flashing in. Cap-a-Lot needs to finish this one off, and he does get the Baron. Camper's now trying to buy time on the other side, but Nerne has the Realm Warp. They are going to try to lock up as many kills as they can, but Burrito Bear turns the play around onto potential 5. And, I mean, Camper and Burrito Bear, they are maybe we need to back down. Maybe we need to back down. Don't do it, Camper. Okay. I'm not the biggest fan of 20-minute Barons, given that, you know, Baron has hands, right? He's going to shred you now, especially early. But, hey, I mean, that play in topside that they went for on Burrito Bear meant that they didn't have a ton of key tools at the start of that play. They didn't have Tempered Fate to just kind of interrupt the Baron take. They didn't have the Ornhorn on Scoop, and he tries to flash in there to get a play started. So, hey, even if Baron's got hands, the enemy team doesn't have their tools. They were more than willing to take the fight. But now Spark chasing in onto Chain User has Burrito Bear. Double stun does hit with that Gravity Well. Ornhorn, though, finds a double knockup. So does the Rocket. So that is going to be a reset. Lil Mac trying to push forward. Potential 5 is caught by Camper's Gragas. It's going to be a double for the big man in the top lane. And now Nerne is stranded in his lane. He's going to be knocked around. Another casualty. And things are starting to fall apart for 5 with potential. This is some of the strength that Victor has. Even though he's not going with the exceptionally tanky build with the Roa, you're diving on him. That means you're going through a Chaos Storm. You're going through a Gravity Well. Burrito Bear able to stay afloat. Lil Mac able to get that initial reset. That's a big deal, right? Like, if you're able to take that initial engage, kill off the engaging Wukong, the engaging Ornn, and get Lil Mac excited. Get him the steroids pumping. Becomes a very legitimate threat, even though his build is a bit more... doesn't have the IE yet. It will be Soul Point for the side of LMA. Burrito Bear is going to get tagged by that Tempered Fate. This time, he does not have Flash. This time, he will surely fall. Nerne Realm Warps on through. Hits the Flux into the Overload. And a nice little pick in the side lane. Nerne gonna be able to work his way up towards that Rabadon's electing for the hat rather than the actualizer. And I mean, we are now getting to a very scary point for this Rise. You know, Caitlyn might be in her kind of power trough right now where the Jinx is going to be a bit more of a threat. The Rise is absolutely ready to throw down, start chucking these spells. We will see Herald haphazardly summoned up and not really going to get any value. It does find a charge, find some plates for Capelot, so not nothing, but definitely a lot less than they were maybe hoping for with Shelly. They're going to see if they can find Nerne being a bit over-aggressive, but I mean, they're not revealing anyone really on the map. Nerne should be paying his respects. Camper does not have TP, but Scoop does have to head up there and match him. I mean, Camper coming in, subbing here for the side of LMA. He has been a fantastic sub here for Lil Mac attackers. Is, you know, the champion of our last tournament, DMV Winter, and Gragas pick definitely something he pulled out a fair bit. Was willing to play the tank, willing to play the bruiser, willing to play this AP, maybe a bit more nuke side lane style build with the Lich Bane and the Chovy belt. But yeah, I mean, proving that even if he's not properly in the tournament this time, he can come in and make hay with, you know, champions that he's performed on before in the Gnar, in the Gragas. We're going to see a siege up here in top side. We are going to whittle it down to the last plate, but that is all it will be. Both sides sending up 5-man squads to try to defend the 200 gold that's in this tower. Don't know if we quite need to send it here, but Spark is going to try to force away Chain User. They don't find the stun, and Nautilus is going to drop. Nice play there, as the Nautilus was a bit overzealous, and now maybe we've got a play from the side of 5WP. Here comes the Realm Warp in behind. Ornhorn as well. Little Mac is down, and now Tempered Fate is beautiful onto 2. Capelot is able to take out the Wukong. The Cosmic Binding does not connect. Down into the GA goes the Lee Sin. The Cask doesn't quite connect the way I think Camper wanted, and now his mid-jungle is exposed. He's able to flash on top of Rags, but his team is getting ran out, and it should be a kill for Scoop here, as he's going to prep up the clap and claim the kill on Burrito Bear. 4 for 2 in favor of 5 with potential. But Camper is not done just yet. The burst combo is not enough on potential 5, though. He's trying to loop back around, takes the portal, and he's just messing around. I imagine, as with Dead Man's Play, I don't think potential 5 should be in danger. Camper probably won't be either. Nerne does not have Realm Warp to try to get in here. But we're back. Chain User died at the start of this, and now he has reconvened to get the kill onto potential 5. Bard is dead for 40 seconds, Infernal in 60. Excellent stuff there, you know. Clinic, you know. It was a good job punishing Chain User for being a bit over-aggressive, didn't have a good dredge line out. Then you get the Realm Warp in behind to force them into these narrow passageways of the jungle where you can just line up the Ornhorn. Lil Mac has no chance to play the game. It felt like maybe Burrito Bear would have been able to pull something off, as Victor is no slouch himself in these late fights, but weren't quite able to get it there. It is going to be Solon 15, but you see the side of LMA prepping around the top side and starting up the Baron instead. Tempered Fate's available on potential 5 if he wants to stall it, but I think they are just going to deny the Dragon and move on. Baron is there for the side of the Lil Mac attackers, and a Soul Denial will be the constellation for 5 with potential. They're now going to barrel through top lane with the Baron pushing minions. Realm Warp is going to be used by Nerne. They want to start off the fight, but there's the Gragas right in on top of them. They only kill off the clone, as now Chain User trying to get in there. Spark Salesman's gonna die. Burrito Bear has the stopwatch to immune some damage. Brags is now caught on the back line. They try to make the play with the Realm Warp, but it is Lil Mac this time punching back. Stays alive, gets a triple, and it is just potential 5 to watch his team crumble, to watch his base crumble. As if you asked me how this series was gonna go 40 minutes ago, I would have said clean sweep, 5 with potential, but in a much more even game 2, it is once again the Lil Mac attackers pulling through and claiming their own 2-0 sweep. Great stuff there. Really insane stuff there from the Lil Mac attackers. Able to keep the momentum going from the end of game number 1. Alrighty, welcome in, Mr. Superior Capalot. An interesting series. Give me a second. This is not working. Okay, it should be audible now. Okay, welcome in, Mr. Superior.
Thank you.
I am still in disbelief over game number 1. So let's start
Yes.
there. What was going through the team in the comms towards the end of game 1 where I thought it was a done deal? I thought you guys were doomed.
Well, our whole game plan was to just try and make the game as even as possible. Obviously, that didn't end up happening because I made a misplay in the bot side, which kind of spiraled the game because it allowed Kassadin to kind of accelerate a little bit faster. But uh, but the mental in the call within our team was actually really good. We managed to keep a cool head, you know. We knew that as long as I was able to get to that 3-item mark or that late game mark, that we would still have a chance because of how strong my champion is. And especially how strong my champion is against ADCs, because with every fight, Yunara would have to walk up into my W to try and kill me. And by that time, I would already kill her, which kind of somewhat happened in game 1. We did also find a really good angle because their Wukong played a bit too aggressive, but um, our team actually had really good vibes. There wasn't that much worry. Uh, Obviously, the Kassadin was probably the biggest problem, but we managed to find out a solution to lock him down midway through the game, and I think my team played really well, especially for the fact that we have 2 subs. Shout out Chain User, shout out Camper, my 2 goats.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very solid game from Camper. Subbing in on his Gnar was a good power point in the first game, and then Signature Gragas coming in second game as well.
Mhm. Yeah, Camper played crazy.
More on that second game, though. Felt like things were a lot more under control. No big tragedies early on. You had an even game state that guys were able to pull through. Though you did do a very early Baron take attempt that had me a bit confused. So walk me through the thought process on that one.
Yeah, no. I think I don't remember exactly the conditions that were met to play for it, but we thought it was a good idea. Realistically, our our option was to turn. I'm pretty sure it was because they made a top play where they burned three ultis. They burned Ryzel, Bartle, and Wukong ult. So we said we can pull this, and if they decide to contest, then we turn. But the fight was kind of a fiesta. My both my carries actually, Lil Mac Attack and Burrito Bear played it really well, along for the rest of my team. I was kind of a bit lost uh during that Baron fight, as you could probably see in the while viewing. But my team managed to pull through. So yeah, I think the whole idea for the Baron was because they had ults down, we thought it'd be a good angle to look and possibly turn.
Okay. Okay. Good to hear the process there. Makes a good bit of sense. Yeah. When they were going for that victory, they did quite a lot of important tools. But either way, congratulations on the 2-0 sweep today. How you guys feeling now that you're 2-0 here in the summer split?
We feel great, honestly. Like I said, we have two subs, so it's kind of weird that we didn't have a full team. But our team honestly has a great vibe to it. So uh, it's nice to know that when our two starters come back, they are 2-0.
Yeah, we'll see what the team looks like when everyone can come together. Thank you very much for
All right, okay, thank
dropping
you.
in. That is going to wrap us up here in this match between the Lil Mac attackers and five with potential. We've got no games for tomorrow, but on Friday, we will have the Jesus Christ, I can't with these names. The Nyan Nyan Maid Cafe versus the City Mouse Hate Watchers. You get that once and then never again unless they make finals. And so that'll be it for us. Tune in Friday for that match. Take care.